If you run a team, you'll know this. Client requests an email, Slack internal tasks, things getting mentioned in passing, and no real system to hold it all together. There's this awkward stage in your business where you're going to need a ticketing system, but most tools out there are too much, too rigid, or too messy to just use day to day. We had clients raising the same issues over and over again. Things slipping, no visibility, and no clear ownership. A few of them looked at tools like Zendesk, but it was just simply too heavy for what they actually needed. So instead of forcing a full help desk setup, we built something much simpler in Airtable. Just enough to capture requests, assign work, and see what's actually getting done. And it solved the problem without adding more complexity. Hi there, I'm Alex Knowles from automationhelpers.com, and we have helped hundreds of businesses get set up and automated using industry-leading portals, apps, and integrations. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how this system is set up inside Airtable, from how requests come in to how work is assigned and how all of it connects together. Nothing overcomplicated, just clean structure that keeps everything in one place and makes it obvious how the work gets done. And if you're in that strange stage where things are starting to slip, well, this video is for you, so make sure you keep watching. Okay, so here we have our ticketing system in Airtable. I'm going to walk you through how it works and how you can use it. First, we're going to start with the structure, the tables, the records, how they link and connect to one another, because this is what makes the system clean and easy to use. Then we're going to look at requests and how they actually come in and how we capture those. Forms, emails, Slack, manual input. After that, we'll go through the automation layer, because this is the things that happen behind the scenes that actually make this a streamlined system. Then we're going to look at interfaces, how you and your team will actually use and interact with this system daily. But first, as I mentioned, let's start with the structure of the system, because this is what makes the whole thing work. And the key idea here is really simple. Everything comes into the inbox table, and it will only become a ticket and create a record in the ticket table if it actually needs to be worked on. There's no point receiving random messages and then just creating a ticket from that. We actually need to triage and filter. So most systems will break because they're creating everything as work, which just isn't the case. You have messages or requests, and then you have tickets and the work to get done. Now, the inbox here is where everything lands. Client requests, internal asks, as we can see, that is things from Slack, emails, form submissions, or if we input it manually, it all comes into the inbox table first. And we can see, of course, which channel it comes through. So once something is actually worth doing, it will become a ticket. And then if we jump into the tickets, we can see that here are those actionable pieces of work. They've been reviewed, assigned, prioritized, and now they're actually getting done or going to get done. In the background, everything is linked up. So every item, whether it's in the inbox or a ticket, is tied to a contact, which is just the person who asked for it. And that contact is likely a customer or an internal member. As we can see, we've got customers and we've got members of our team. This clean structure means that at any point you can see where a request has come from, who it has come from, and the stage that it is currently at. There's no need for a complex workflow here because we have that structure from day one. Everything is clean and easy to use. So once that structure is in place, the next question is, how does stuff actually get into the inbox? Because in reality, requests don't come from one single place. They come from everywhere. Emails, Slack, your team, even things mentioned in passing that we'll probably most likely put in manually. So instead of how we control where things come from, it's better to make sure where everything ends up and how we categorize where it comes from. And that place is the inbox, as we mentioned. So no matter how something comes in, whether it's a client email, a Slack message from our team, or someone fills out a form, it gets added here in the inbox, and we know which channel it comes from this field. Now, we also have it set up automatically so that we record where that comes from. Let me show you how that's done. I'll quickly jump into automations, even though we aren't at that stage in this tutorial yet, but we'll quickly take a look at the automations that we've set up so far. Currently, we've got the form inbox. So when the form is submitted and it captures a new request, automatically that record is being updated with the channel form. Similarly, we have an email inbox. When an email is received to our particular inbound email address, we create a record and that channel is set to email. We've actually jumped into Zapier and set up an automation so that when we get a new message into our support Slack channel, a new record is created in Airtable. And you guessed it, if we jump into our data, we can see under inbox that records as Slack. We've also got manual, and that is when we manually add an inbox request to our system. It will record it as manual. This is a simple feature, but one that makes a big difference because straight away we can see where requests are coming from. Now, under the hood, the system here is just 5 simple tables, but it is the way that they are structured that makes the whole system work. Now, I need to reiterate this point because the biggest problem with most systems is that they create tasks far too early, and all of a sudden, your task list starts filling up with unclear tasks, unclear asks, things that don't need to be done or at least done yet. So instead of putting everything straight into work, what you really want is a step in between through the inbox, a place where things can land, be reviewed, and then understood before they're committed to and passed on to a ticket. And that's exactly what this inbox is doing here. It gives you a moment to pause, ask a simple question. Does this actually need to become work? Because not everything does. And that one step, that one small bit of separation keeps your entire system clean and focused. So you and your team can do what matters. Now, we also need to mention that the contacts table is an anchor in your system. Everything connects through that. So once you know who something came from, the system can tell you the customer, the team, or anything else that is tied to it. Like we have another open ticket for this contact. That's something that your team does need to know. I mean, if you're in conversation with that customer and they ask about that, you don't want to enter that conversation not really knowing. Or it could be that your operations lead sent this particular request in. And this will only work if you have a clear habit set. Someone has to take ownership of capturing these things, or you and your team need to have a process in place to ensure that it's captured when the request is made, whether that's you, your team members, or whoever is closest to that request. Of course, though, if it is a form capture, it's going to be a required field. If it's an email, it's automatically captured, and Slack somewhat as well. So when you put all of this together, you get a system where everything is captured in one place, nothing gets turned into work too early, and everything stays connected without duplication. But what about streamlining this system? Because we have the workings for a solid system to store our requests, our contact info, and our tickets. But what about streamlining it? And this is where automations come in. Now, the key thing here is that you don't actually need a lot of automation to make this a streamlined system. You just need a few small things happening in the background that save you and your team time and keeps everything connected and consistent. Now, we already looked at auto-selecting the channel, the capture of where a request came from, depending on where it's come from, of course. But what else can we do? For example, when something is converted from the inbox into a ticket, you simply don't want to be manually creating and then copying and pasting all that info over. Of course not. So that can be handled automatically. The title, the description, the contact, the request itself, all carried over in one single step. And that step, well, it could be that when an update of the status is to convert it, or it could be by pressing a button in your interface, but we will look at that later in the video. Now, you select converted, and then all of a sudden you have a new ticket created. You also have that original request in your inbox linked to the new ticket, so you have connection the entire way through. Now, another example would be assigning ownership. Instead of assigning every single item to a particular person or manually going through and doing that, we can lean on automations to get it done. You could have simple rules in place. Maybe certain types of requests go to certain people, or certain priorities are given to a certain person, or you have a particular support person that handles a particular customer or contact. Again, nothing complicated, just rules set in place to keep things connected and consistent. And even things like setting default priorities or making sure fields are filled consistently, these are automations that you could have that keep everything ready. Automations are there in place to make the entire process much smoother. It reduces the effort required to maintain the system, which is what actually makes it sustainable. Because the moment that a system becomes too manual, people stop using it correctly. So the goal here isn't to automate everything. As you can see, we don't have a lot of automations in place, and they most certainly aren't complicated or complex automations. It's just about taking those repetitive, low-value, tedious actions and letting the system handle those in the background so you and your team can focus on the work itself and the requests. But we can take this a step further still, because at this point, we're not just managing tasks, we can actually start managing communication directly from the system as well, using Airtable automations, of course. So if we jump into automations, we can actually trigger things like Slack messages or emails based on what's happening inside your system. For example, when a ticket is created, you could automatically notify the relevant person in Slack, stating internally, hey, someone check this out. Or you could send a response automatically to the person that initially created the request, letting them know that we'll get back to them in 1, 2 days, 12 hours, whatever it might be. Or perhaps if something changes status, like it's resolved, well, you could send an update back to the customer or contact via email, and of course, have Airtable automations do that for you. And what this does is it begins to connect your system to the way that your team communicates. Our ticketing system is an amazing place to store and manage your requests. It's only more powerful once you actually begin to have the communication living inside that same place. With automations like this, you remove the need for manual follow-ups. Those small messages like, hey, can you take a look at this? Or has this been completed? Instead of those living in separate tools, well, you bring them into the one system. So now the system isn't just storing requests and tickets, it's actually driving the flow of communication around that work. And that's where this starts to feel much less like a database and more like a place where your team can actually work and manage your requests day to day. Now, once you have your structure, your capture inbound, and your automations in place, the next piece is how to actually interact with all of that. You could, of course, still rely on the views, the actual data itself, but Airtable offers interfaces. Now, most people don't want to look at data. They don't want to look at rows. They don't want to look at fields. They just want to see what they need to work on, what's coming in, and what needs attention. And that's exactly what the interface layer solves. It feels like a portal, an app, a real system that you and your team can use to get back to contacts and get back to requests. It tackles all of the underlying structure, the inbox, the tickets, the contacts. The structure is still there. This is just a layer on top of that structure that makes it easier to interact with. Instead of seeing everything, people, your workers, your team members will only see what's relevant to them. Like here, we can see a view that shows new items in our specific inbox. So someone could quickly come in and review what they need to focus on next. What is overdue? What's prioritized? What have I closed? What have I got done today? Here we have a ticket board that shows work by status, what's new, what's in progress, what's done. That way the team can actually get a visual of their workload and also a reward for getting things done. You can also create views for individuals. So each person only sees specific tickets, either assigned to them or their department, like we mentioned. And that's where things start to feel much more like a product rather than a data system or a data set. Now, instead of navigating around the database and jumping between your tables, ensuring the automations are set, the team begins interacting with a clean, focused interface that actually reflects how they work. Importantly, though, we can highlight what's being missed. Beyond that, we can also jump in and actually manage not only the requests, but also our customers and our inbox. And as previously mentioned in the video, rather than jumping into a record or a request and updating the status so that it is moved forward to a ticket, we can add buttons into our interface. And once we click that button, all of a sudden a ticket is created, and you guessed it, all the relative information is sent through to the new ticket record, plus it's connected and linked to that original inbox record, the request. Most importantly, interfaces reduce things being missed because all the important information becomes front and center. The interface isn't changing the system itself, it's just shaping how people experience it. And that's what makes the difference between something that's technically well built and something that actually gets used. If you and your team are at that awkward stage where you need a ticketing system, Well, do not hesitate to reach out to us at automationhelpers.com or by clicking the link in the description below, because our team are offering a free 30-minute consultation. So make sure to book yours today.